tip those wiki bartenders 20%. No droids, no money hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. Was at Target today and doing my usual walkthrough just to see what's going on. And they have the next installment of the Heir to the Empire trilogy, Dark Force Rising, and the next installment of the Bane trilogy, Rule for Two. The Rule of Two. I'm going to say this. That we are going to get Heir to the Empire, maybe not legit, all the way down, the full thing, but we are going to get Heir to the Empire with Thrawn coming back and them republishing them for, and I think we're going to get a Bane trilogy. Here's the reason. Back a while back, I had heard that Jon Favreau wanted to make a Bane trilogy. Okay, so there you go. We have Heir to the Empire and Bane in the essential EU. Okay, maybe they're just publishing them, but I don't think so. I do. I honestly think so. And again, if Kennedy was still in charge, if she was the last voice that had to be sated before something was done, those books would not be being republished. Okay, they would not. So there you go. Very strange that the hardcovers at that Target that I went to for the High Republic are not there. I don't think they sold out. What I think they do is I think they take them off the shelf if they're not selling in one place, and I think they send them to a place where they can't be sold, or somebody orders them from someplace else, and they pack them up and ship them out. Tomorrow, if I have time, I'll go check the other. Maybe recalled. I don't know, but they do have the paperback books of Light of the Jedi, which incidentally, if you look at the thumbnail, it's for free for 30 days on Audible. So if you get Audible, you can actually listen to that thing for free. I'd rather listen to a cat yowling than listen to that. So there you go. What else? There's really, the Sam Mag stuff has seemed to have blown over, which is good. Let's see, there's really nothing going on with Indy 5. We pretty much talked to that ad nauseum. Again, I'm going to say it. This is what I wanted to say about that. They're not going to switch in the middle of a movie from Harrison Ford being the lead in his own fucking movie to a girl just because he got hurt or whatever. Now, would it shock me that Kathleen Kennedy wanted a woman to take over the franchise? No, they'd have to call it something else. You couldn't call it Indiana Jones anymore. But you'd have to call it something else. But they're not, no. So this is, when people start getting freaked out about something, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction. And I think it's actually been to the point where they're conditioned to freak out the moment they hear a certain name, see a certain thing going on. And in some instances, I don't blame them for that. I do blame people when they don't want to listen, when they don't want to consider other possibilities. And we know who they are. It's the guys that put, 8 videos a day out there and all they do is bitch. Well, they're not. This is just again, and my theory stands. That story, which is old, because we all heard it since the day Waller Bridge was cast, that story was put there in the New York Post for a reason. And again, I think it was to hurt Kennedy. All right. It's not the story so much as the publication it was in. Okay. Now it's not just nerd speak in Indy 5 fans, in Indiana Jones fans, fan conversation. Now it's everybody. Everybody. Everybody from Greenwich Village, Soho, Tribeca, the West Side, the Financial District, the Fashion District, Broadway to, you know, Schenectady. Okay, that is, you know, I mean, people are talking about it everywhere. So there's a reason it was put there, and that was precisely the reason. Okay, because that reader base is probably more inclined to be Indiana Jones fans than others, if you know what I mean. But anyway, what else is going on? Oh, really? I mean, it's been really quiet. Again, except for we're doing this and we're doing that and Sam Mags and, you know, the Sam Mags thing. I mean, Star Wars Theory was talking about it, and he's trying to downplay the concern over her. Well, as long as she keeps her politics out, when has an SJW female ever kept her politics out of anything? When? They don't do that. They're conditioned not to do that. And it's really sad, but that's the truth. And we are getting a storm. Cool. Anyway, so they're covering Jessica Rabbit up. You know, again, let me explain something. There's a war for the soul of Disney right now. Chapek doesn't have time to worry about shit like that. Okay. He will probably revisit it once he establishes he is the boss. Okay. It is stupid. He's probably aware of it. And he will probably say, okay, come on. All right, this is a cartoon. Let it go. So, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, whatever right now. I mean, you know, I'm really tired. I don't know why either. I could go to sleep right now and I'd be perfectly happy. I'm really, really glad there aren't any late night streams I have to go on today. Anyway, nothing else really going on. You know, I thought about actually going through a timeline again of the rumor mill, but I thought, nah. You know, it's just, you know, it's not right now. I will later. You know, it's almost too quiet in some ways, but what else is new? But I do believe that Favreau and Filoni want to bring Heir to the Empire in some way into the storyline. And again, I want to talk about the ramifications of this though. So last Friday night, Troy Pacelli brought up to me that Cartoon Network had all Star Wars movies on, except for episodes 7, 8, 9, and Solo. And it was a movie a night, and they basically said this is real Star Wars. They had 1 through 6 and Rogue One. That's it. Why don't you think about that for a little bit? What does that mean? Here's what it means. It means that Hollywood does not acknowledge the sequel trilogy, all right, anymore. And you can have your, you know, Elizabeth Banks, lefty, functional morons running around screaming that they did like it without really understanding what Star Wars is. Not a Star Wars fan, by the way, she isn't. And you can have them running around saying that, but they're not, their voices are starting to fade. Their voices are starting to fade. And that was a really big piece of information, I think, that they did not acknowledge 789 or Soilo. It also says something that there's word on the ground that those movies are being decanonized. I really do believe it now. If Cartoon Network thought for a minute that they had to show them, they would have shown them. Disney obviously said, go ahead and show whatever you want. All right. So anyway, what else? Nothing really. I'll only be on for a little while today. Probably 20, a half hour. Went, looked at autumn decorations. The dog thinks that everything I put out is now his, so I'm constantly keeping him out of it. He's in his kennel right now, so I can do this without running around chasing him. They're getting their Christmas stuff out. Oh, and Hasbro Pulse put out their 50-year anniversary figures. And the one of Han Solo is really neat. Now, I don't know if it's a 3.5 inch or 3 3/4 inch, or if it's a 6 inch. If it's a 6 inch, I want it because it looks really cool and it's priced like a 6 inch, so it probably is. And they've got a new Greedo coming out. And they've got a new Luke. And they've got a new Leia. They've got Jackson, the rabbit alien dude. But I really want the Greedo because I don't have a Greedo. I need a Greedo. I'm still waiting for my General Calrissian from Return of the Jedi. I'm like, hey, come on, I kind of ordered that a long time ago. Where is it? So this will be really fun to see what these are like. I still have to order my Aura Sing. So yeah, I mean, it's I think collecting is going to start to get a lot of fun, to be a lot of fun. I really, really do. The Greedo is really cool. Okay, I need one. I also need a Jabba, and I need an Emperor. But oh my God, the Emperor on his throne. Oh, if you had an extra $200 laying around, you could get him. But I'm like, holy shit. So I if I have to order one that's that expensive, I will. But I'm not really into it. Really, there's nothing. But that's a weird cloud coming over our house. There's really nothing else going on. Oh, now Target does have, hey Daysbury, their Halloween costumes out, and they have Ghostbusters costumes. Let me explain something. Unlike us that didn't have shit, the kids nowadays not only get a jumpsuit, they get a ghost trap, a real looking replica ghost trap, and a PKE meter. And the only ones I saw were Spangler, a little Spangler, and a tall Spangler. And it's pretty cool. I'm like, all right, I that's really neat. So I might actually get the PKE meter and the ghost trap just for collectibles. But yeah, so I'm like, I am pretty pumped about that. They didn't have any at ours either, but they do have some at the Target next door. I saw one Stormtrooper. That's it. Kennedy really screwed the pooch. She really, really did. And I think Dune is going to make JJ cry like a bitch. From what Andre said, it's a really, really good movie. It's what Dune should be. And for the real hardcore fans of it, they're gonna like it. The fact that it's being marketed as not woke and they're complaining about it, and then Andre being very enthusiastic about it, Yeah. And he said you have to see it at the theater because it's an experience. So get ready. I mean, the movies, again, I want to see going into next year are The Many Saints of Newark, Dune, Ghostbusters, and that's it. That's it. That's all I can think of. There really isn't anything else I really want to see. I mean, I'd rather eat glass than go to the Eternals. And to me, it looks like Kevin Feige is getting his ass kicked right now. You know, I, and I'm kind of not really, I'm really kind of like about day and date release. I really am. I think it could hurt Dune, but I also, I don't know, because if Black Widow made as much money getting rented out, oh, I can't wait for it either. I mean, that's going to be such a great movie. I mean, what a great tribute to James Gandolfini too, for his son to do that role. I mean that, I think that's my favorite part of it is that Gandolfini's kid is playing. Sorry, Gandolfini's kid is playing Tony, and so it's gonna be really cool. And then of course Ghostbusters, which is gonna be, excuse me, gotta do this. Ghostbusters, which is gonna be a tribute to Harold Ramis. They couldn't have gotten two kids that look more like him. Wolf, what's his name, and the little girl. I mean, I'm not kidding you, man. That kid looks just like Harold Ramis, the little girl. You couldn't do better than that. You really, really couldn't. There's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, this is gonna be great. And if we hear anything, oh yeah, and Cry Macho, which I think is out this weekend, and if that's the case, I'm gonna go see it. You know, so I love Clint Eastwood, and for all we know, this could be his last movie. And he has been an icon, an American icon for decades. And he's 3 years old, and he's still acting, and he's still directing. That's pretty hard. 90 or 93. That's pretty hard ass, if you ask me. It really, really is. Oh, and I want to say this about the Kenobi show. Far be it from me to know any spoilers, because I don't. But when the rumor came out that they were going to have Kenobi and Vader fight, I immediately thought it can't actually be round number 2. Okay. So I started thinking about it and started thinking it's got to be something not in this, in the how do you call it, this realm of existence. So I'm fairly convinced that what we're gonna get is Kenobi running around doing something, and Vader chasing him, and Vader wanting to find him, and this constant thing in a different realm of existence of them fighting. Okay, either in each other's dreams or whatever, because that's the only way it works. And I don't think that Deborah Chow would be in for breaking canon that much. So last night I was watching Dark Council, and I had to quit watching it because I was getting really frustrated. It's like people turn off their brains. Nothing from what anybody has seen, and there have been no leaks off that set, none. So the people whining or complaining, oh, it's gonna be round two and it's not gonna be blah blah blah. No, it's not. Stig and Alora are wrong. Okay, Stig and Alora are very wrong. It is going to be within a different realm of the Force. Okay, so it's not round two. I mean, I don't really care what you believe. Okay, but if you honestly think that it's not, it's why would they do that? Again, it's just like right now, and literally in the middle of, oh, thank you, in the middle of filming Indy 5, would they suddenly decide, hey Maze, how you doing? That they want to put Phoebe Waller-Bridge as the lead in Indiana Jones. That kind of thinking is right up there with, oh, Anakin's going to be in Kenobi, so they're going to have round two, and it's going to break canon, blah, blah, blah. I just turned off my brain because I'm mad. But they're not doing that. Yes, they are. How do you know? Because, I mean, the reasoning, if you're emotional and your rationality is coming from anger and emotionality, you're wrong. Okay, they can't do it that way. And besides, if you're dealing with powerful Force users like Anakin, aka Vader, and Kenobi, do they have to meet in the corporeal world? No. They're connected. This is going to be about their dead friendship. This is going to be about Anakin blaming him probably for Padme, thinking that basically Kenobi, you know, he's gonna blame Kenobi for her death. All right, that's what he's gonna do, and that's exactly what the Emperor wants. This is Anakin's rage, Vader's rage and hate. Okay, this is going to be about Obi-Wan's guilt and fear and the fact that he failed, not just Anakin, but Qui-Gon. Okay, that's what it's going to be about. All right, now, sad thing about this is, I mean, I'm hoping we get to see Qui-Gon, but the way Disney acted when Liam Neeson talked about an event that took place when he was a kid, I don't know, but you can't really have this story play out without Qui-Gon Jinn butting in with just his voice saying, Obi-Wan, you know, he can't, you can't have this show without Qui-Gon, because he's the catalyst for all this. He is the one that discovered Anakin. He is the one that knew who he was and knew how to reach him. Okay, Obi-Wan, if you look at it, and Dave Filoni explained this very well. Filoni basically said Obi-Wan was more of a brother to Anakin Skywalker. He wasn't the father figure Anakin needed. Qui-Gon was the father figure Anakin needed. The person who filled the void of father figure for Anakin is Palpatine. And when you watch them talk in Revenge of the Sith, you can see that the fatherly figure should have been Obi-Wan, and it wasn't. It was Palps, which is, I think, when you think about everything, which is what Palpatine wanted. It's almost as if, and I've heard this theory before, as if Palpatine wanted Maul to kill Qui-Gon Jinn for the reason that Qui-Gon Jinn trained Anakin. Anakin would never fall into the dark side of the Force. He would have been trained differently than he was. He wouldn't have been trained rigidly. because he's a prodigy. He doesn't think the way the other kids think. You can't, it takes a special teacher to reach somebody like that. And Obi-Wan wasn't that person. He was Anakin's bestest buddy ever, not the dad. That's where Obi-Wan made the mistake. So this is what the show is going to be about. Okay, the show is going to be about Vader raging around the galaxy looking for Obi-Wan, because that's the Jedi he wants to find. Okay, it's not going to be a fight in the corporeal world either. It's going to be in a spiritual realm, in a realm of the Force that only they could, that they're connected to. And them being connected so closely because they were master and apprentice, they would be able to find each other in that realm. Do you remember Empire Strikes Back? Remember the cave? Remember Luke fighting the Vader figure? He was fighting himself. It's going to be a little bit like that. So, and it's going to be very, I think, interesting to me. And Mazer's just sent me a link about there's going to be multiple Star Trek movies being made. Yippee skip. You know, my fandom of Star Trek ends at Star Trek 4, so there you go. But it's this is, you know, what it's going to be about. So when people start freaking out about Obi-Wan and Vader fighting, it's not going to be that kind of fight. It really, really isn't. And I'm getting kind of sick and tired of it. Again, part of me thinks that there are people within the fandom that, all right, they're huge EU fans. It'll be like a vision maze. It'll be a vision like Luke's cave fight with Vader was. Okay, but again, Vader knows Obi-Wan didn't die, so you can bet your sweet Bippy, because he blames Vader for Padme, that he is looking for him to get revenge. Okay, he's looking for him. This person who trained him, that he loved like a brother, he feels betrayed him, just like the Jedi betrayed him. And of course he's going to go after, he's going to go looking for him. Now, does he find him in the corporeal world? No. They're connected. That's why he knows Obi-Wan's still alive. He just can't find him. Okay? I mean, Obi-Wan might be... Oh, I know. They don't... It's too bad. My problem with some of these hardcore EU fans, and Maze knows who I'm talking about, is that they know so much that isn't true. First off, the EU could be incorporated into the canon. But, and you have a school of thought, people saying that George Lucas did look at it as canon. People saying he didn't. He had never said himself, quoted in an interview or in video, saying that it was canon. So that's all up for debate. The fact of the matter is that I don't think he never looked at it as pure canon. But he did look at it and wanted to cherry pick it. He knew there were good stories and bad stories. I have complaints about a few of them. The Han Solo trilogy, the lady that was the illusionist, I thought that was stupid. the Brian Daly thing where it was the same thing, kind of like going off on a Wild West show to get to either rob somebody, or I can't remember what it was, but it was like, that is lame, you know. No, Dave Filoni isn't overrated. He's not. You just don't want good Star Wars unless it's the EU. That's your problem. Okay? You can't have a rational discussion about this and are going to come in here with capitals. You're going to not do that anymore. Okay? You're not. It's not perfect. Old Redneck Nerd is right. It is not perfect. The illusionist thing in that solo origin story, that Wild West show where he comes out dressed up is dressed up in like Bronco Billy, for Christ's sakes, or Urban Cowboy or whatever. Then you have the courtship of Princess Leia. I mean, there were some good parts to it. But I'm like, some of these authors miss the point of Leia. They miss the point. She was more like her father than her mother. Okay, so there was that rebelliousness that Anakin had, Leia had. Okay, then we've got when the Usain Vong show up and a moon gets dropped on Chewbacca and he dies, and then Anakin's Solo dies. I mean, I'm like, what? And there's some other really bad stuff. There's a lot of really good stuff. Like if you look at the individual characters, Jagged, Fel, Katarn, Jaina and Jason, Anakin Solo, Mara Jade, you could do some different things with her. And it would be great. I mean, it would be great. But, not all of it was perfect. And the people that act like it was are blind to the problems. All right, Maze, you know what to do. Dave, you guys know what to do. I mean, I mean, first off, no series of books is perfect. When you put a lot of different writers together and some aren't as talented, when you're really not thinking out your stories, they're still better than the High Republic. I mean, but like I said, the High Republic is, the first book is now free on Audible if you want to read it. I wouldn't waste 5 cents on that book, but that's just me. But still, it's got its problems, and to pretend it doesn't is intellectually dishonest. And, here's the deal. These are a series of books based on Star Wars, George Lucas' Star Wars. They are not the Bible. They are not the Torah or the Talmud. They are not the Quran. They are not, the Buddhist sacred texts. They're novels. Treating them like they're something that, like they're infallible, is really weird, in my opinion. Okay, there's good stuff in them, and there's bad stuff in them. There were good writers, and there were writers that made you go, eh, they put a lot of stuff out in a hurry, and you could see that it all came out like 4 or 5 books a year, maybe more, in different time periods. The best authors were Troy Denning, James Luceno, Oh God, Heir to the Empire. Shit, my mind is fried. But let me just a second. Let me go grab that just a second. Oh, you made it. Yeah, see my fat butt. Drew Caption, Timothy Vaughn. These are good writers. Okay, there were other ones too. That book that came out, that was an EU book, that came out after the sale to Disney. God, what is that? Called Honor Among Thieves is a great book. I highly recommend that book. And you got all the there's a lot of other really good writers, and there were some that I don't think were that good. And yes, there were women writers for these Star Wars books. All right, Justina. Who the heck is Justina Gray? You better not be teasing me right now, because I've never heard of that person. But it's really interesting that we've got people out there that actually think the EU is infallible. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you think these people know what the word infallible means? No, I don't. It's not sacred text. It can be work done. Oh, whoa. Are you kidding me, Sikori? Is this a joke? Is this a joke? Oh, go, you weirdo. Infallible is not a word that I would use to ever describe any series of books. Not even the new Mitch Rapp books. And tomorrow, Enemy at the Gates, which is... Yeah, I kind of saw that. I didn't know if he was joking or not. Enemy at the Gates is going to be coming out, the latest Mitch Rapp novel, and I'm not looking forward to it. Okay. Again, Kyle Mills is a good writer. I don't think he's doing a great job with Mitch Rapp. Vince Flynn's baby. If you don't know who Vince Flynn is, go order some of his books if you like thrillers and meet Mitch Rapp. Meet Scott and all the guys. All right, go. Because you're going to end up discovering a great bunch of books that Vince wrote. It literally ends. The series literally ends, in my opinion, when Vince died. That's it. You can't. The spirit isn't there. The spirit isn't there anymore. You gotta have people who love it. Kyle Mills was hired to do a series of books. Hey, Matt Piranha. True old redneck nerd. But when you get it, see, Kyle Mills is the guy who's writing the new Mitch Rapp books, and he's up there. He's a hired gun, just like Justina Ireland is, just like Claudia Gray. You don't really care about the quality, and he doesn't. Vince had a voice, and when you read his books, you know who Vince Flynn is. Right there. When you read Kyle Mills' version, that voice is gone. That authentic badass is gone. So, hey, and it's really, I can't read them anymore. It hurts my heart. And they're lazy. I don't think you can do a Mitch Rapp book and be lazy about it. I really don't. And it's the same thing with the High Republic and these new authors. Kevin Scott's not a Star Wars fan. The guy that wrote the book, The Force Collector, is not a Star Wars fan. Claudia Gray isn't. But again, you aren't what you say. You are what you do. Okay? And what they do is they're just doing a job and they're spewing their stupid politics into this. They don't care about the subject. They don't care about putting a product we all want to read out there. Okay? There it is in a nutshell. Right there. And it's fascinating to me when you've got the SJWs defending that crap, but they don't buy it. They just defend it. The EU fans acting like unless we get everything we want, yeah, I think you're right, old redneck nerd. It's pointing that way, and a forced dyad is Jaina and Jason. Okay, that's the twins, the twin sons, Leia and Luke, Jaina and Jason. The fact is that, again, I'm going to say this again to the EU fans, you cannot think you're going to get what you want perfectly right down the middle. I've only seen one piece of screen art that ever did that, and it was called War and Remembrance. It is about 25 hours. Sakori, are you drunk? It is a verbatim miniseries from War and Remembrance. What was War and Remembrance? War and Remembrance was the novel, the best-selling, prize-winning novel that Herman Wouk wrote about World War II. It starts after Pearl Harbor and then goes all the way to the end. And it is heavily detailed. And it was Dan Curtis who made The Winds of War, which is great, the book and the show. But War and Remembrance was heavy duty. Heavy duty. The research that went into the novel is, you can't believe it. The research and pain and agony that went into making the TV show was unbelievable. It got panned because it was too long. Okay? This is why you get people making miniseries and taking two characters and squashing them together, and then you have a different character. That's what they did with North and South. John Jakes' book about Ori Main and George Hazard. George Hazard is from Lehigh Valley, up the north of here, and Ori, of course, is from the Low Country in South Carolina. They go to West Point and become best friends. And it's all about the history of the Old South and the East and the problems, the social problems that were going on from like 1840 whatever till the Civil War started. And then North and South Book 2 takes over and goes all the way through the Civil War. Ori, played by Patrick Swayze, was a combination of Cooper Maine, the older brother, and Ori, who was a character in the book too. He was the younger one who went to West Point. That was Ori. They didn't do both of them because in the book it might work to have two different brothers doing stuff, but in the TV show it didn't, and it actually worked out quite well. So again, you cannot adapt a novel fully, even into a miniseries, without running into trouble, without confusing people who haven't read the book, and without losing momentum. Okay, this is why you're not going to get the full EU. Okay, you probably will get Bane, the Bane trilogy. You'll probably get Revan, but you're not going to get a lot of the things as perfectly laid out like you want them. Okay, again, the EU is not infallible, so stop treating it like it's, your sacred text. It's their novels. And there's a lot of problems. I mean, there are people out there that don't like the Yuzhan Vong. Okay, they don't like him. They think it's stupid. Okay, fine. Okay. There are people out there that didn't, and a lot of people didn't like what they did to Chewie. And a lot of people didn't think it was very cool what they did to Anakin Solo. It was unneeded. Now, I've had friends of mine wax rhapsodic about what happened to Anakin. He glowed. I'm like, why is that cool? A beloved character's untimely and stupid death is poor writing. It's lazy writing. It's the authors and the publishers don't know what to do with the characters, so they kill them off. That's exactly what J.J. Abrams did to Han and Luke. Okay? Luke was ostensibly killed off in TFA because we didn't get to see him. All right? It's lazy writing. I don't know what to do, and every time I put these two characters on the screen, they just take over. Then why aren't you writing about them? Why? Here's the deal. What you do as JJ is you go up to Kennedy and Iger and saying, we're seeing this the wrong way. This should be Han, Luke, and Leia's trilogy. They already had theirs. No, they didn't. They should be doing a soft handoff to the next generation. Okay? What we're doing, is gonna make the fans angry. Duh. Look what's going on. B, it doesn't make any sense in the story continuum, the continuing the story. And C, they're not very good stories if we concentrate on the newbies and relegate the original characters to, poop collector, which is what they did. All you have to do is say that. And if they got snarky, just say, look, the story you want to make is the next three. The story that needs to be told is not about these kids. They should be standing there waiting their turn. And it's not their turn. And to force their turn and basically X out the old characters is going to put some very bad karma in your debt box. And if you want to do that, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. And I would have turned around and I walked away. And that's exactly what I would have done. You either do it right or don't do it at all, right? The moment they realized that the older characters were that big is when they should have said they need to be this is their story. That this is their story. This is not, these kids gotta wait their turn yet. And, it would have been better, I think, for these younger fans who don't know any better, who don't respect older people, to see a respectful handover. Not that difficult. Anyway, I'm on longer than I thought I would be, but I'm tired. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later, and y'all have a good evening. And we're about to get storm number 2, I think. So I'll see you guys. See you guys around the galaxy.